Well, as Ed said, I am the technical manager, assistance manager here at the Iowa Soybean Association. I've been here for just under 2 years and walked into a very big project, a very active group that does research and puts programs on fields for farmers at the field, farm, and watershed scale. And we also look across states, so we don't just work here in Iowa, we work across the Midwest and have recently looked at even undertaking a project, maybe even internationally. So we are deep and broad in what we do. Our primary concern is the farmer, and if it doesn't come back to farmer, we aren't interested in doing it. So today I'm going to talk about using imagery for post-season corn stalk analysis. I thought I would give some of you a background about what we do here at the Iowa Soybean Association and where we fit, and kind of give you an idea of how our program runs so that you'll understand how this post-season corn stalk sampling fits into a soybean commodity group. Kind of an interesting thing that we do here. ISA as a whole, we develop policies and programs using the soybean checkoff and other resources that help expand farmer profit opportunities and then promote environmentally sensitive production. So we're really interested in using the money that the farmer pays into the checkoff program to give benefit directly back to the farmer. If you don't know how the checkoff works, it leverages a portion of a percent of every dollar for every bushel that is sold. So it's totally based on the price of soybeans on the market as to how much money we get. It goes into a large pot. That pot is then divided into the individual states based on their percentage of the total production, and then we have a percentage of that money that goes to support the United Soybean Board that does a lot of, they're going to be like the umbrella organization. They're really going to be trying to drive prices and look at infrastructure for shipping and international policy and products that come out from soybeans, and so that's kind of their role. In the state, we tend to look at state-specific issues and how can we support the United Soybean Board, but how can we also support the farmer. Here in Iowa, we're governed by an elected volunteer board of 21 farmers. We actually are up to about 65 staff now. We've more than filled our brand new building in 2 years, and we meet the needs, or we try to meet the needs of approximately 45,000 Iowa farmers who plant about 10 million acres of soybeans annually. So it's a pretty big job. Within ISA, we have lots of different components. These are just a few of them, and you'll see the one bolded. That is the environmental programs. That's the group that I am a part of. So we all work in the same office, but we also work together. So we use our communications and marketing people to help get our story told. We, try to tell the story of the soy biodiesel, and our projects sometimes overlap. So it gets to be a pretty intricate web of how we relate with each other. The picture below is our brand new building that was built in or finished in October of 2009. We have now filled that building to capacity. We're trying to figure out where we're going to go next. It does have an authentic grain silo there on the front that holds about 55,000 soybeans if it was an actual soybean silo. Our group falls under a strategic plan that our farmers have set up, and our objective that we fall under is to advance agricultural leadership for environmental quality by developing, applying, and promoting programs that assist producers to perform agronomically and economically. That's a big mouthful, but really we just want advanced farming and in a sustainable manner so that we can keep the bottom line as low as possible for farmers so that they can increase their profit and yet be sustainable over a long term. Within our group, we are guided by farmer self-interest and responsibility. We don't go out and wrestle farmers to the ground to be a part of it. It's pretty much volunteer. We do ask farmers on occasion if they want to be a part of our programs, and it's an education piece. A lot of people don't understand what it is that we do within the state. We look at targeted outcomes, agronomic, economic, and environmental. We want to keep those all sustainable. So whatever we do is going to focus around that at the field, farm, and watershed scale. And we want to apply science. So all of us that are within our group, save two, have a science background, up to the master's, and we have one that has a PhD. We do everything from in the field, technical, on the ground, taking soil samples, water samples, edge of field monitoring, applying conservation practices, writing plans, All of those things are programs that we put on the ground for our farmers. We also try to help pair them with our local NRCS office to help them with cost share or any other programs that they need to have done. We value cooperative partnerships and collaborations. We collaborate with just about anybody who's willing to collaborate with us and who's working in the realm of having agriculture take the lead. Work very closely with Pioneer and Monsanto. The Nature Conservancy is a very strong partner of ours. We've done some work with the Environmental Defense Fund. We look at the Walton Foundation, the Johnson Foundation, and then we have other organizations within the state that we also work with. So we're very, very tied all the way up to Washington and what's going on with the Office of Management, Business and Management, and even to the NRCF's chief. Let's see here. I told it to advance. I don't know if it's going to. Looks like I have frozen up here. Ed, is it advancing? There it goes.
There it goes, yeah. It was just
really slow.
Or having
so within our program,
having a tantrum, I was going to say. Yeah.
So within our program, we do individual technical assistance to farmers. That's the piece that I oversee. If there is anything that's going on within a farm, it falls under my umbrella. We do expert planning. So we look at, we can do watershed scale planning, stream and river assessment. We install bioreactors and edge of field practices to help farmers. We look at other conservation plans, buffer strips, waterways, terraces. We plan for nutrient management. We look at manure. Anything that goes on a field we're interested in. And so that kind of gets us to the piece of why in the world we would be interested in corn stalk sampling when we are the Soybean Association. We tend to look at the farm as a holistic operation. All-inclusive. One piece cannot live alone without another piece, and so we're very interested in that. We usually tie things back to water quality. We want to know how what's being done on the land affects the water quality. And so we look from the headwaters all the way down to the outlet, and in our case, most of that goes straight to the Gulf of Mexico. We look at public education, communication, and outreach. We hold a lot of field days, a lot of producer meetings, a lot of stakeholder meetings, and we're interested in educating the public. So Rotary or Kiwanis or other entities that maybe aren't directly tied to agriculture. We want to get the message out about what our farmers are doing. And we also want to do this based on data. So within Iowa, the outlying watersheds are where we were working last year. We've added about 5 of those to this year. The individual dots are individual farmers that we worked with in the last year, and we've added about 65 or so just individual dots, plus another 200 or so concentrated in watershed areas. We tend to do targeting. We look at these 19, 12 watersheds, and you know, we're looking at almost 6 million acres just within the state of Iowa that we have worked with. My 6-state project that Ed alluded to is called the STARS project. It is a project that's looking at cropping attribute energy. So there are a lot of energy pieces out right now. A lot of the electric cooperatives are looking at energy audits, and most of those are geared toward lighting or the grain dryer or anything that's going on the farmstead. What we're really interested in this project is really capturing the picture of what does it take from tillage in the fall to harvest the next fall. What energy does it take to produce the crop? So yes, we're looking at direct energy where we're looking at tractors driving across the field. Yes, how much it's going to take to dry down your grain from, say, 21% moisture down to 13 or 14%. But we're also interested in what is the energy that's embedded in the choice of nutrient that you've chosen to apply to your field, or what is the energy that's embedded in the fungicide or herbicide that you've chosen. And so we think that by coupling that with planning, so if we know what you're doing on that field and your expected goals, you know, what is your yield and what would you like your field to look like when you are finished, we think we can start to maximize that relationship and maybe fine-tune it a little bit better. So it's really an adaptive management approach. This project is, like I said, is in 6 states. We're working with about 17 to 20 CCAs and TSPs across those 6 states. About 2,800 fields, which comes up to about just under 350,000 data points per year. It's a 3-year project, and there's one project manager, and that's me. So it's a lot of data that I QC, a lot of working with these CCAs and TSPs. I also am acting as a CCA and writing plans and doing individual planning for farmers as well within this project. And so it becomes a very quickly becomes unmanageable if it's not done correctly. And we're trying to do it correctly. Have created some software and done some things like that. I've had good conversation with Ed, and we're talking about how to make this process a little bit easier. In my bio, we talked about the Certified Environmental Management Systems for Agriculture. Just wanted to give you a brief update or picture of what that looks like. We are creating plans to help farmers address natural resource concerns, not unlike what NRCS does. It does follow an RMS process. You can see we're looking at SWAPA, but we added wildlife and energy before NRCS decided to. At the minimum, we write a nutrient, soil, and pest management plan for our producers, and then we partner those with TSP, CCAs, and agronomists to get them applied on the farm and have an ongoing relationship with producers. We do look at business management principles when we do this. We want to look at the environmental policy, what are the legal and regulatory requirements that farmers are expected to abide by, and then we want to do this continual improvement cycle. Plan, do, check, act, and do it all over again until we have fine-tuned it to a place that we can live with. And it needs to be an ongoing relationship. It's one of the reasons that we partner with TSPs and CCAs. A lot of those guys have the ongoing, year in, year out relationships with their farmers. And we're not here to take over business. We're here to supplement and support the business that's already going on. And we want to be able to have something that can provide feedback. So data is very, very important.